Nick Robertson, another name that we know all too well just based on seeing him play in the 2020 bubble playoffs for the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you're a Leafs fan, why should you be excited about Robertson?
Well, you have to know the backstory, and I'm a big fan of the backstory, and I think that explains a lot about Nick Robertson. You go back to when he was a baby. He was born prematurely, about 2 months early. It was the third and final steroid shot that actually kept him alive, and it's that fight and that will that has allowed him to become such a successful player in the Ontario Hockey League with the Peterborough Petes, and then a couple of games with the Toronto Maple Leafs in bubble play. So Nick Robertson is a smaller guy. He's got all kinds of heart. He shoots the puck extremely well. His goal totals have gone from 12 to 27 to 55 last year. And he's got a little bit of bite to him that if you turn your back on him, he'll give you a little stick, whack in the back of the legs. He's in it to win it. So a highly competitive guy who, when you talk to the coaching staff in Peterborough, they say, we can't get this guy out of the office. He's always looking at video. He's trying to get better and improve. Even when he's injured, he's out on the ice when he shouldn't be. And this is the type of will that this player has. It all started from when he was just a baby.
Sam, I'll start with you at number 20, Cole Perfetti, and maybe the only person who's got better flow on this show today than Sam Cosentino right now is Cole Perfetti. But if you're a Jets fan, Sam, why should you be excited about the prospects of this prospect?
Hockey IQ, that's the thing that sticks out most about this player. And when he has the puck, he is truly magic. He's an equal threat in terms of being able to distribute it and score goals, as evidenced by his 37 goals in back-to-back seasons. And also the fact that he got cut last year at Canada's World Junior team, he didn't like that very much, and neither did the league. He went back with Saginaw, put up 66 points in his final 32 games to finish second in the Ontario Hockey League in scoring. But this guy is so quick, he thinks the game a step or two ahead of everybody else. So he's down there, he's looking at feet. All right, if the feet are going one way on the defenseman, I'm going to go the other way. He's looking off people. He has the ability that when he comes across the line to assess his best options and do so in a hurry. I'll be really fascinated to watch how he plays with players at an NHL caliber, because he's going to be able to get them the puck and he'll be able to receive it in a way that he might not have been able to do while playing with Saginaw.
Number 14, Jamie Drysdale. You talk to anybody who's seen this kid before the NHL draft, they're like, his skating abilities are incredible. Grew up taking some figure skating lessons too, and it seems it's paying off.
Yeah, clearly it's helped him, because one of his greatest attributes is his ability to skate, and it's just so smooth and effortless, and that really describes a lot of the way he plays when he's at his best. You don't notice that he's running out of the way to do anything, because he's generally in the right position. He's got the skating ability to get back and recover if he has to. Great on the pivot, gap control, all things you need your defenseman to do. He jumps up in the rush. He likes that wrister, not always the big slapper, but he likes that wrist shot. Is able to cruise down into that 35, 40-foot area and beat goalies from there. He's a smart outlets passer, just a smart player that utilizes everyone around him. You think about it, last year he played as a 17-year-old for the World Junior team in Canada. In the last 30 years, look at the names who've played as a 17-year-old defenseman. It's a pretty good list. Ryan Ellis, Wade Redden, Aaron Ekblad, Jay Bouwmeester, Chris Phillips, Scott Niedermayer. If you can be like any one of those guys in any kind of way, you will have a great NHL career. I think Jamie Drysdale is on his way to doing just that. He is going to be just a steady, top four, excellent NHL defender for the better part of 15 years. Like, that's the kind of guy you just plug and play. Whatever role, he might be in the power play on some teams. He might be in your top four. He might have to shut other guys down. He has the versatility to do all of that. And he's a really good young prospect, and the Ducks will be happy to add him to their pretty impressive defensive core already.
Kirill Kaprizov, Johnny, you like him at number 7. Not a first-round pick, not a second, third, fourth. Fifth-round pick back in 2015, but a lot of hype to get him over from Russia recently. And it seems like that's going to come true, because he signed with the Wild back in 2020.
He's in Minnesota right now.
Yep.
And finally, we're going to kick him off this list. We're tired of having him on here.
What is this, 3 straight years?
Like
Get him out of here.
It feels like he's 25 years old, 27 years old. He's been on here so long. He's just 23 years old, and we know what he's great at. He's a great goal scorer. The fact that, as young as he was, he led the KHL in scoring. And that league, it's so hard to create offense. You look at the best goalies in the KHL, they have sub 2 goals against average and .950 save percentages. And there he is, right amongst the league leaders in points. He is the league leader in goals, and that's what he's going to bring brought into Minnesota to do. What I love about him is that, he's played and excelled in the KHL against professionals in the defensive league. He's also played and excelled with the Russian national team. So he's been around the best players Russia has to offer And I've seen him grow as a player and also in confidence in those years, last few years at the World Championships, where he kind of was the new guy and maybe a little bit intimidated by the environment. To the next year he came in, he's like, no, I want to be one of the better players. He scored the overtime game-winning goal at the Olympics in 2018. And so he's done a lot of big things on big stages, so he is going to be completely comfortable sliding into Minnesota. Now, I don't know if Minnesota has the centermen that are good enough to maybe tee him up to score the 30 or 35 goals that he is capable of scoring right away in the NHL, but he's got a little bit of Svechnikov in him. I'm not going to say Ovi because that's unfair to anyone, but he's got that goal scorer's mentality, and he's the kind of guy, if he's having a great game, you notice him all the time. If he's having an off game or they're checking him tightly, you might not notice him until he scores a goal. He only needs one shot. He's a high percentage finisher. He doesn't need volume shots, even though he takes a lot, to score his goals. You cannot notice him, puck on his stick, back of the net, and all of a sudden he's a difference maker in the game. Those guys are rare. They're needed in Minnesota, and that's why he's going to be as important a player as they have up front this year.
At number 4, we go between the pipes. Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers, drafted 4th round back in 2014. This guy's played 13 NHL games, but he may...
Just makes the cut.
He just makes the cut, but he may be the guy that we see the most of when it comes to this coming season based on the departures in New York, and it seems like it is his time to shine in the Big Apple. Is he ready?
Yeah, I do believe so, because he has that confidence, he has that swagger about him. And my experience watching this player goes back to 2013 with Russia's under-20 team. Back-to-back years, he played in the Canada-Russia series, played in one of those years at the World Juniors. And the one thing that really stuck out was the competitiveness. Never gave up on a puck. And it might be unorthodox at times, but it's highly, highly effective. The next thing you have to know is if you have ever watched a Russian practice, the goalies, they're truly targets. Clappers from inside the dot, no problem, head high, bouncing them off the bar. So if you're a Russian goaltender, yeah, it's probably better for you to stay at home and play in the KHL and get your chops and earn your chops there, but you want to get out of there. You're tired of being a target. That fear and that ability to always face that even in practice, I think, is something that helps a lot of these guys. Then you think about his age. He's going to turn 25 at the end of the month. You talk about goaltenders coming into their own, usually it's around 25. Sorokin, number 18 on our list, he's about to come into his own. Binnington won a cup at 25. You look at Hellebuck, he's right around that age. Carter Hart, a little bit younger. But you're talking about guys that really start to make their way at this age. He is primed to do well in New York.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. He's not 19 or 20, just trying to figure it out. He's played professional hockey. He is more mature. He's refined his game to a certain degree. He's been around the Rangers organization. They're a great goaltending coach system there. Benny Allaire's been there for a long time. And I think he might actually be a guy, let's not be disrespectful, but will benefit knowing that, this might be his starter's role to keep and have, that Henrik Lundqvist is no longer there. Because he doesn't have the shadow of the great Henrik Lundqvist over his shoulder. He's got to do the job. He's got to figure it out. If that team wants to be good, if they want to build off of last year, push towards a playoff position, continue to be a good team, it's going to be on him. And I think not having a crutch of a Hall of Famer there, while that'd be a good teammate and a good support system for his own growth, his own ownership of the situation, it would be good for him to recognize and know it's on me. I got to get it done.
Tim Stützle out of Germany. Funny that he's ranked number 3 because he was drafted 3rd overall in this past year's draft. Rivaling Leon Draisaitl as the best thing to come out of Germany since BMW. Also matched Draisaitl as the highest ever pick among all German-born trained players. Draisaitl selected 3rd overall back in 2014. Sam went to the Ottawa Senators. They had 2 picks in the top 5. We talked about the other guy on the back end. How about Stützle and what he can provide and when he may be able to provide it for the Sens?
Well, you look at the Mannheim system, and it's perfectly set up for a player to develop. We saw it with Moritz Seider 2 years ago. Why is that? Because you're playing against men. You're playing in a league that's not too game heavy, if you will. So that allows you time off the ice to work out, work on your skills, which Tim Stützle is one of those guys. I talked to Mark Kadek, as a defenseman on that Mannheim team, and said, we got to drag this guy out of here. He's first at the rink. He's last out. He always wants to work on extra things and spend more time on the ice. Skating ability, hands, awesome. When you play first power play unit in a men's league and have success doing it, that speaks everything about your volume and what you are moving forward. But here's a guy who's got good size. He's thick. He's strong on his skates. He can protect the puck well. He moves it well. I think Ottawa here may think down the road about moving him to center, but like many guys, will probably start as a winger.
I think you should not discount the German league as a place to develop players because a ton of ex-NHLers, they have broad import rule. So a lot of North American skaters are over there, and it's a good caliber league. And of course, I played there. I know all about practice heavy. So it's a lot of training, a lot of off-ice. So the physical strength, the strength on the skates, those kind of things are there for all the young German players. They're very strong. And I think you'll see at the World Junior Tournament how he shines against his own age group. He is a dynamic player. Running a power play at any level, let alone as a teenager in a professional league, is a big responsibility. He does a really good job of it. My question becomes, I think he's good enough now to make the Ottawa Senators. He can come out of the World Juniors, go to their camp, get in that lineup, and their lineup has holes in it that could use a player of his skill. My question is, do they do that this year? Do they want to get him in playing right away? I think he's more, that's an organizational decision. It won't be kind of, is he good enough? Because I think he already is.
Quinton Byfield also drafted 2nd overall by the LA Kings in the past year NHL entry draft, also number 2 in our top 50. His favorite team as a kid, the Lightning. His favorite player is Martin St. Louis. He's got a different makeup and body size than St. Louis.
Yeah.
Quinton Byfield, 6'4", 215. He's a big fan of bow ties too, Sam. Collects them, owns at least 20 of them. Put a bow on this kid and why he could have a big impact in the future for the LA Kings out west.
The craziest part in all this, number 55. Why? Sergei Gonchar. He's going to wear 55 with the Kings, too. That's crazy. What are you doing as a centerman watching a defenseman like Sergei Gonchar? Anyhow, when I look at this player, you think about the size, the skill, the speed. All of these things are in this package. And I think his ceiling is so high that probably the pandemic would have helped him in terms of, even though he's already got a big frame, the ability to add that size, to add that strength. I think he's up over 220 now, Jameson.
Oh.
And the fact that he still has not lost his speed, you look at the skill, the shooting ability. Yeah, he could work on his face-offs, that sort of thing. But now I saw him in Canada's camp there. Even just in the media scrums, he seemed a lot more, I don't know, confident, better body posture, head up, looking as if he's going to be the guy.
I'm over 220 now, too,
yeah,
for all the wrong reasons.
Aren't we all at the end of 2020? What will be interesting to him is I think he took some hints about how good he could become because he maybe didn't have the kind of dominant performance of the World Juniors last year where Alexis Lafreniere did, and people were wondering, how good can he be? I think, is he the second best player on this list today? Maybe not, but could he become? And I think that's what's most important to realize. His ceiling is so high, and the physical size, you can't teach size. He's always going to be big. He's always going to be heavy, can really skate. And, he had, 82 points in 45 games last year. It's not like he didn't produce at a really good clip in the OHL. I just think maybe some people saw him not have as big of a role as Lafreniere at the World Junior team last year and were wondering maybe he can't step up his game. Just wait. Let him play this year against his own peer group. Let him grow, develop, continue to refine his game. He could become just a dynamic star player in the NHL. He's got all the physical tools there. He just has to continue to grow, mature, and don't rush him into the NHL if you're LA, and I don't think they will. I think you got to give him time, play out his junior years, then get him to the pro level.
Alexis Lafreniere, our top pick when it comes to the top 50 prospects on our list. Lafreniere, what more can you say about this kid? Drafted 1st overall by the New York Rangers. He was named the CHL Player of the Year last year. He also won that award in 2018-2019 at the age of 17. Crosby, the only other player to win that award twice. So when we're comparing things,
that's okay.
Not bad to be compared to a guy like Sidney Crosby. You can see the prospect profile here. Sam, what more can you say about Lafreniere? Number 1 overall, number 1 on this list. The expectations are high. Do you think he can live up to it?
Multifaceted game, and that's why I think he can live up to it because, yeah, he can play with the physical brand of hockey. That's no problem whatsoever. He can go to the net. His shot is extremely underrated. Skating is not an issue whatsoever. But the thing that I like about him, he has center impact on the wing. And that means he has the ability to make those around him better, but do it from the wing, which is often a trait we talk about with center icemen. So I like the fact that he can do just about everything that the game has to offer. Defensively responsible player. And it speaks volumes to me that the New York Rangers and Lafreniere decided, you know what, we're not going to go back to the World Juniors. We want to get you a full camp because we think you're going to be a guy who's going to be an impact guy for us right away. And so hang back. Get a full camp in, get ready for the start of the NHL season. Off and running he goes.
Remember, he's a late birthday, right? So he was born in 01,
right.
A year older than Quinton Byfield by birth year. And so he's a little bit more mature there. And I think Sam hit on it.
Kind of like the Austin Matthews effect, right?
Absolutely. You have another year to develop, a year older. But He's the rare winger that can involve and control play, drive play from the wing. Blake Wheeler, Taylor Hall, Patrick Kane, the guys who don't have to be in the middle, have the puck on their stick all the time. And why coaches will love him when he gets to the NHL is that unlike most offensive superstar players, which of course he is, he's not lost without the puck. And most guys, when they have it all the time, they get to the NHL, and it takes them a while to figure out, okay, how am I going to play? Because I don't get to have it quite as much here. He's not like that. He won't hurt you without it, and he's going on to a team that has really good players around him. So whether he might be a third liner as a first overall pick, and justifiably so when you see Chris Kreider and Artemi Panarin ahead of him, he slides into a perfect situation in New York. Good young core, talented offensive players. He won't have a ton of expectations and spotlight solely on him as a guy who's responsible for turning around a franchise, because that franchise is kind of coming together as it is. So he's in a great spot. I expect him to be just a solid point-producing player for a long, long time. Maybe Jonathan Huberdeau comes to mind, a winger who just puts up points, really helps your team.
You look at all the accolades, and I mean, our research department does a great job of gathering all the information. The one that sticks out to me, he ate the center of a cucumber as a kid and used to use the outside as a mouth guard. So I think, we've hit the NHL. I don't think he'll be using cucumbers anymore in the Big Apple next year, but we'll see.